Not all poems rhyme, and not all rhymes are obvious, but understanding the importance of rhyme is a critical part of breaking down a poem. Generally, rhyming words are words that have the same ending sounds, like cat and rat and house and mouse, but it can get a little bit more complicated. Let's get into it, and welcome back to Between the Lines. So, what is the point of rhymes? Well, one obvious purpose is to make poems musical and memorable. They are pleasing to the ear. Rhymes can also make poems more complex and offer another avenue through which we can make connections between words. Words that rhyme are paired together by our minds, and so by looking at rhymes, we can be guided into exploring hidden relationships between words. Let's look at a few different types of rhymes. First, the end rhyme versus the internal rhyme. End rhyme. The most common and basic kind of rhyme is the perfect end rhyme. We'll come back to the perfect part a little later. End rhymes happen when rhyming words are found at the end of lines. For example, I have a cat. Its name is Rat. Here, the rhyming words are at the end of each line. The lines don't have to be consecutive. By changing what lines rhyme with what, you change the rhyme scheme of a poem. We'll look at that shortly. End rhymes are good for making poems easier to memorize. End rhymes are obvious, and with steady rhythm, they can make poems fun and musical. Next, let's look at the internal rhyme. If the rhyming words are found within the lines, as opposed to at the end, then we have the aptly named internal rhyme, also called middle rhyme. With this style, rhymes are made within and not just between lines. This increases complexity and can make for an intricate flow. The best rappers are masters of the internal rhyme. Some rappers string together lines where almost every single word within each line rhymes. Here's an example of internal rhyme. My cat's name is Rat. It stays at home and wears a comb. Some poets further complicate things by using both internal and end rhymes. The end rhymes can be a different sound from the internal rhymes. For example, my cat named Rat, it likes to play. It's black and fat with spikes of grey. Next up, let's take a look at perfect rhymes versus near rhymes. So far, we have only been using perfect rhymes, which means the ending sound of the rhyming words are exactly the same. Cat and rat have the same at sound at the end. Near rhymes, also called imperfect rhymes or slant rhymes, occur when ending sounds are similar but not exact. I'll give you 3 examples of near rhymes: thumb and gun, home and come, bitter and sweeter. These rhymes are near because they share similar vowel or consonant sounds, but the sounds still don't perfectly align. Some poems feature near rhymes as well as perfect rhymes. Rhymes can be mixed and matched in many different ways. The key is to be able to identify what kind of rhyme is happening where, and try to figure out why. But why would a poet use a slant rhyme as opposed to a perfect rhyme? So many possible reasons. The subtlety of slant rhymes might be that poet's personal style, as it proves a less musically linear and rigid flow. Also, being open to using slant rhymes means there are many more words that you can use. Some words perfectly rhyme with only a few other words, none of which might be a perfect choice for what you want to communicate. Because slant rhymes only require that there be a similarity in the ending sound, there are more options to choose from. Another reason could be that the poet wants to shift from using perfect rhymes to slant rhymes to create some tension, imbalance, or surprise in the poem's musical flow. Sometimes imperfection is perfection. Next, let's look at the identical rhyme. Identical rhymes are just rhyming the same sound with itself. Perfect rhymes repeat the same ending sound, but the identical rhyme repeats the same sound altogether. Let's get into different kinds of identical rhymes. For now, let's look at rhymes where the same word is repeated. These are a type of identical rhyme called the rich rhyme. Look at this example. I have 2 cats, they like to play. When the sun is out, they run and play. Obviously, identical rhymes can be used to bring emphasis to a particular word. Maybe a poem is nudging the reader to look into deeper or alternate meanings of a particular word. Maybe an identical rhyme is used to underscore some theme around sameness, stagnation, uniformity, unity, conformity, and so on. It could be used to disrupt a pattern of perfect or imperfect rhymes. Just like all forms of rhyme, why it is used can only be considered case by case. There is no one right answer. Now let's look at a slightly different kind of rich rhyme. Check this out. I have a cat. Its name is Rat. Each time it's hungry, it kills a rat. This time, the words don't have the same function. The first rat is a proper noun, while the second rat is a common noun. Could this identical rhyme be hinting at the idea that my cat is suicidal or cannibalistic, trying to eat itself? Maybe by eating rats, the cat is tipping the ecosystem out of balance, and it is slowly eating itself into starvation. Look at this identical rhyme. My cricket cat, it likes to bat. Each time it bats, it eats a bat. Here, bat is repeated, but in one instance, it is a verb, while in the other, it's a noun. Just because two words are the same doesn't mean that they're doing the same thing. Finding the difference in the sameness is a key to understanding identical rhymes. Now let's take a look at the homophonal rhyme. So far we have looked at the kind of identical rhyme called the rich rhyme, where the same word is repeated. Now let's look at another identical rhyme that uses different words. In this case, let's look at homophones. As the name suggests, this rhyme pattern pairs words that have different meanings but the same pronunciation. They may or may not be spelled the same. Of course, if they have the same spelling and pronunciation, then you can in some sense consider them the same word, meaning you could call them rich rhymes. The lines are a little blurry, and there's a bit of an overlap. Either way, they are identical rhymes, and that is the most important thing for now. Look at this example. I met my cat at a fair. It's grey and white, quite fair. But for my cat, life is never fair. Yet it lives with bravery, no fear. It travels all day, it likes to fare. But since it's a cat, it pays no fare. Here, each line ends with the same sound. The ending words are homophones. Your job as a reader of poetry is to try to figure out why this is done, and what the hidden connections amongst these words might be. Next, let's look at the onset rhyme. The last kind of identical rhyme is what I call the onset rhyme. Again, this is not a real poetic term, but I am trying to compartmentalize this big category of identical rhymes to show you different ways in which they can occur. For this kind of identical rhyme, rhyming words, and in this case even phrases, can be of uneven syllabic length. All that matters is that they have the same vowel onset. What this means is they have the same ending sound and the same consonant sound that precedes the vowel sound. Come and some have the same ending but the preceding consonant sounds are different. Some has s, while come has k. Therefore, these are not onset rhymes. I'll use some onset rhymes in this next example. If I call my cat, then it will come. I wonder what my cat will become. It doesn't like milk, it likes ice cream. When it bites my arm, I scream. Here, come and become are identical rhymes. Ice cream and ice cream are just as identical. The same word is not repeated, so they're not rich rhymes. They're not homophones, so they're not homophonal rhymes. But since they're still identical, they get thrown into this last category, the onset rhyme. You don't need to remember the names of these three kinds of identical rhymes. This was just to show you the different ways in which identical rhymes can be made. Now, the last major type of rhyme doesn't rhyme at all. It's called the I rhyme, also called the visual rhyme or sight rhyme. These words look like they should rhyme in that they have the same ending letters. Their ending syllables are spelled identically, but they only rhyme to the eyes. When said aloud, you will see that they do not rhyme at all. Well, saying they do not rhyme at all wouldn't be entirely accurate, because many I rhymes are also slant rhymes. The key point is that I rhymes have similar lettering, but they focus on looking rather than sounding similarly. Let's look at a few examples. Laughter and daughter, fiend and friend, derange and orange, stranger and anger, banquet and bouquet, but and put. Of course, I rhymes can also be found in matching homographs, such as minute, minute, base, bass, agape, agape, bow, bow. I rhymes, just like any other type of rhyme, can be used by poets to link words that readers should find relationships between. While I rhymes are difficult to spot in poetry you hear, they're easy to see in poetry you read. We have covered the main types of rhymes that occur in poetry, or anywhere for that matter. Now let's move on to rhyme schemes. A rhyme scheme is simply the rhyme pattern found in a poem. Where rhyme schemes are concerned, it is usual for only end rhymes to be considered. Considering internal rhymes as well would severely complicate things. Also, some critics choose to focus only on perfect rhymes when breaking down a rhyme scheme, while others might consider imperfect rhymes. If a poem does not use end rhymes at all, then we call it free verse. Rhyme schemes don't really apply to free verse. Rhyme schemes are described using letter notations, such as AABB or ABCAA. Notating a rhyme scheme is very easy. Each time you encounter a new end rhyme, meaning a new ending sound, you move to the next letter of the alphabet. Look at this example. I have a cat, its name is Rat. Each time it's hungry, it kills a rat. My cat named Rat, it likes to play. It's black and fat with spikes of gray. The rhyme scheme of this poem is AABB. Every rhyme scheme starts with A because A is the first letter of the alphabet, and so it must represent the first ending sound, which is found at the end of the first line. Here the second line is the same rhyme as A, so we call it A too. The third line is a new sound, so we call it B. A poem with 26 different rhyming sounds would use every letter of the alphabet. I do not want to encounter such a poem. Let's look at another example. I have a cat, its name is Rat. Each time it's hungry, it kills a rat. My cat named Rat, it likes to play. It's black and fat with spikes of gray. My cat ran away, but now it's back. It's back to eat another rat. But the rats have run away. They might return another day. This poem has 2 stanzas, and the rhyme scheme has to represent that breakage, because you should be able to tell how many lines and stanzas a poem has just by looking at its rhyme scheme notation. So now we have AABB, AABB. The space between both sets of rhymes in this notation means you have entered a new stanza. So why do rhyme schemes matter? For one, a rhyme scheme is the easiest way to describe a poem's rhyming pattern. Secondly, we get to see how rhymes shape the poem as a whole. Thirdly, it's a quick way to identify where and how often rhyming sounds are repeated throughout a poem. Some rhyming patterns are so popular that they've made names for themselves. Let's look at a few. Number 1, alternate rhyme. Rhymes alternate, such as in A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F. Number 2, monorhyme. There's only one rhyming sound throughout the entire poem, such as A. Number 3, rhyming couplets. Rhyming lines are paired, such as in AA, BB, CC, DD. Of course, we have rhyming triplets, where rhyming lines are grouped into threes, such as AAA, BBB, CCC, DDD. We also have the enclosed rhymes. Here, one rhyme sound is sandwiched between another, such as in A, BBB, A, or A, BB, A, or even ABA. Now, as a final segment, let's take a look at a few types of poems that depend on having a certain rhyme scheme. Number 1, the sonnet, particularly the Shakespearean sonnet. This poem has a scheme of AB, CD, CD, EF, GG. The limerick, AABBA. The villanelle, ABA, ABAA. there you have it. The basics of rhyme. Done.